Hey, this is the Bun Mom Life with me, Jessie, and my 3 buns, Rue, Linus, and Timo. You may know us from our Instagram account, Little Loppy Rue, and we're here to share with you our journey as a bun family. Let's hop to it. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Bun Mom Life. We really hope you're having a wonderful holiday season so far, and we're so happy to be back here with all of you. Thank you again for tuning in and supporting us. I just wanted to start with saying thank you again to all of you for all your love and support during this period of time as we're still coping with losing Timo and still coping with the rawness of losing Linus coming back. We're so thankful for this community and for all of your outreach and all of your prayers and thoughts and support. So thank you so much. I also really wanted to do a special mention of our dear friends, Marguerite and her daughter Sarah, who are in the Netherlands and who have always been such a wonderful, wonderful source of support for us. Thank you for all the love that you've shown. Thank you for all the messages. Thank you for your cards that you send to us. We really cannot express how thankful we are to know you and to have you in our lives. You know, we've never met Marguerite and Sarah in person before, but they are truly like family to us now. And it's really amazing to see how in life we can make these kind of deep connections with people in such unexpected places. And we're very grateful. Because you've all been so caring and so kind, I did want to share an update on how we've been. I know we're not super active on our Instagram account lately, and this is because it comes in waves and it goes. Sometimes going on our account and posting is helpful. Other times we just need to step away and have some time on our own with Rue to work through everything. So I apologize that we're not as active, and I know you all really care and are wondering how we are. We are as okay as we can be. We're still working through everything. Certain days, even certain moments in a day are easier than others, and other times we are overcome and overwhelmed by the grief. We stick to our routines and the tools that we have to help us work through all the grief, and we continue to focus on all the joy and the love that we had and that we got to experience with Timo and with Linus. At this point, I've kind of learned that I can still feel okay, but also be carrying a lot of grief. I can go about my day, I can still smile and laugh and enjoy life, all the while holding this loss and this sadness in my heart. And again, it's just the complexities of being human, and it's, in a way, a beauty of being human and this life. We get to experience so much, and it's never just one feeling that we have. It's always a mosaic of feelings and emotions and experiences. And so we're okay. We're grieving, but we will always have this grief in our life, and that's just how it's going to be. Rue is doing well. Thankfully, she's continuing to show lots of signs of being happy and content. She does a lot of her zoomies and binkies still, and she's still super active. She's loving her cuddles and snuggles and her affection, and she also still enjoys her independent time too. She really amazes us, and I often want to get in her head and really understand and know what's going on in there, but we only have her behavior to go by, and so far it seems like she's doing really well. We still, of course, want her to have a snuggle friend and a cuddle buddy eventually. And we do really miss seeing her with a friend and seeing her having someone to really do everything with and be together with all the time. Whenever we look back on her videos and photos with Linus, that's one of the things that we miss the most, is seeing them together. And seeing them play together, snuggle together, eat together, drink water together, literally everything together. And we're happy that Rue had that and had that very special bond with Linus, and then also a very special bond with Timo that was totally different. And even though they weren't bonded, but they definitely had a relationship. And we see that when Timo passed away and saw how Rue in her own way grieved for Timo. So we know that she loved him too, and they had their own little special bond. And we miss that. We miss Rue having that with Sunbun. In the meantime, though, she is doing well. Thank you for asking about her. Thank you for caring about her. It really means a lot to us. Sadly, it is our second Christmas in a row that's overshadowed with loss. So it is hard. I think holidays are definitely triggering when it comes to grief and loss, because holidays are all about gathering with the ones you love and celebrating with the ones you love. And that's also why we don't post as much on our Instagram. It's just this period of time. We are celebrating, we are happy in many ways, and celebrating with Rue. She has her little advent calendar, and we open it every day, and it's a very, very special and fun part of our day. But because of the grief that's coming along with it, we are still learning how to work through it and live through it. This is also Rue's first Christmas as a solo bun. When we first got her in 2020, a few months later, Linus already came home, which was at the start of December. So even though they weren't bonded, they still had technically Christmas together. Then the following year they were bonded, and that's when we got to see all the adorable, fun, cute holiday things they did together. Timo came home in July, and so again, even though Timo and Rue weren't bonded, they still were together during Christmas. So unfortunately, this is our first Christmas with Rue as a solo bun. But thankfully, she's in good spirits, as we mentioned, and we're trying to make it still just as special and warm and loving for her as before. Bun Mom, me, is needing to really learn to let loose a little bit and not worry so much, because Rue is showing so many signs that she's okay, but I still struggle a lot. And I'll talk a little bit about that later on in this episode, because I wanted to talk about the difference for us having Rue as a solo bun versus when Rue had a friend. Before we delve into that part, I did want to talk about holidays with our bunnies and what it's been like for us these past 3 years celebrating our favorite holiday of the year, Christmas. We love Christmas. We love getting festive. We love decorating our place. We love hosting loved ones for dinner or for meals over at our place. And we just love all the warmth, the joy, the coziness, and the holiday spirit that comes around this time of the year. So naturally, when we had bunnies, we absolutely delighted in including them in all of our celebrations and all of our traditions. One of our Christmas traditions is getting a custom ornament every year. So instead of buying a set of ornaments that come in packages and things like that, we typically every year get an ornament that represents something special or significant that happened that year. And we always loved that because it helped make our tree be filled with stories and memories. So it was very special to us. So naturally, our first year of having Rue, December 2020, that ornament was a Rue Comes Home ornament. And it was hand-painted on a piece of wood that we ordered over Etsy. The following year, 2021, in December, one of our custom ornaments was one of Rue and Linus to represent that they were bonded this year and they're besties. So it was a really beautiful handmade macrame ornament of Rue and Linus. Super cute, and we actually keep it hung on Rue's little tent that she has. So you've probably seen it in a lot of our stories and photos. The following year after that was when Linus passed. So that was 2022. And it was such a hard year for us that we didn't even get a custom ornament that year. And then this year, of course, Timo crossed the Rainbow Bridge as well. So what we did this year was we had 2 special hand-painted ornaments done for both Linus and Timo. And they are so well done. The detail's amazing. We also got it on Etsy. They're painted on pieces of wood. And now they're also on our tree with Rue. So we love them. First Christmas with Rue was very special because we had Rue, we had Linus, and it was our first Christmas with fur babies. And we absolutely loved putting little bows on them and little Santa hats on them. We had a little mini Christmas tree that we decorated that was bunny size, I guess, that was for them. We loved taking photos of them being all festive. And this was the time when Rue was a teenager and she was super photogenic. She loved taking photos. It's like she knew how to pose. I mean, Rue, I guess, has always been like that. And we also ordered an advent calendar from our dear friends at Wags and Whiskers Co. And it was so much fun every single day, opening up what was in that calendar and seeing what little surprises were in there for both Rue and Linus. They always get super spoiled during Christmas. The following Christmas, we had more freedom and flexibility because Rue and Linus were bonded. And so we got to have so much more fun because they were always together and we could actually bring them places too, together. We have a lot of family here in Toronto, so during Christmas, we go and have plenty of family gatherings. And we would actually bring Rue and Linus along with us to our family members' houses. One of them being my parents' house and the other being my brother's house. And my brother has his own fur baby, a cat named Oliver. He's really cute, very beautiful ragdoll cat. And the funny story is that when Rue was still quite little, it was just a couple of months after we got her, we actually brought her to my brother's place and we let her meet Oliver. So we were in my brother's home office space at his place, and Rue was already set up in there with all her stuff. So her litter box was there. We brought some toys for her, and she had already done some exploring of the space. So she got to smell it and she knew the scent. And she was a super brave little girl already at that age. And when we brought in Oliver, we were very careful, of course, because Oliver at that time was a lot bigger than Rue. And my brother was holding Oliver, making sure that Oliver couldn't launch or attack for any reason. But it turned out to be really funny and not what we expected when it was actually not Rue who was terrified of Oliver, which was what we expected, but Oliver who was terrified of Rue. And some of you may have seen this video, but we have a video of Rue. I'm with her, and she just had gotten a little snack from me. And Oliver is standing near my brother, which is also near the door. And Oliver is scoping her out and is wondering, who is this and why is she in my space? And Rue notices Oliver. Rather than running away, Rue starts to walk right up to Oliver without any fear and no hesitation. She just goes right up to him, and Oliver gets so startled that he immediately turns around, runs behind my brother, and runs out the door. Rue just stood there like, oh, I guess he's gone, and turned around and came back to me for more snacks. I mean, poor Oliver. He's clearly such a gentle, sweet little cat, and our little Rue terrified him. For the rest of this day, he was super cautious. He would come to the room that Rue was in, but he wouldn't really dare to enter. And we also were monitoring, so we never really allowed Oliver and Rue in the same space without us being there. But that was the first time that Rue was introduced to her cousin, Oliver. Hopefully one day they'll warm up to each other. We loved bringing our bunnies around to different homes, and it also gave them a chance to explore new spaces and satisfy their curiosity. In a way, it was like enrichment for our buns to be able to find these new places and explore. Our family members also really always loved seeing them, so it was such a blast being able to bring them everywhere. With Rue and Timo, it was definitely more difficult because they were not bonded, which meant that if we were to bring them to places together, we'd have to have 2 carriers, and then we'd have to have 2 separate setups wherever we went. So it was just too much of a hassle to do it. Also, that year was really hard when we had lost Linus, and so Christmas was really difficult that year. We didn't do nearly as much as we did the year before. And I do feel sorry that Timo didn't get a chance to experience as much of a festive spirit at our home as Rue and Linus did the year before. But we still tried our best at what capacity we had at that time to make him feel spoiled and happy. When the buns weren't bonded, because we had to have our space divided, it really limited our space, so we always just had the mini tabletop Christmas trees. But the year that Rue and Linus were bonded, we set up our big artificial tree that has fake snow on it. And it was picked a few years ago because personally, I loved that the light bulbs on it were spherical in shape. So they were super round rather than the usual shape of the Christmas lights that are more elongated. I don't know why. I just absolutely loved the round light bulbs. So we picked that tree. And we hadn't set it up the first year we got Rue, again, because we didn't have the space. But once Rue and Linus were bonded the following year, we set it up in the corner of our living room. And it was so much fun seeing how much Rue and Linus loved the Christmas tree. They were sniffing it out, exploring, super curious. And of course, we have videos of that. And then they fell in love with it. And they were so happy. They would do so many zoomies and binkies around that tree. They just adored it. Especially Linus, who would literally just binky underneath the tree. Round and round and round. So it really reminded us of the Christmas song, Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree, because he literally was rocking around the Christmas tree. And it was so, so cute. Of course, we'll share videos of that in our stories on our Instagram account, The Bun Mom Life, so be sure to check them out. He grew so fond of that tree that he would spend so much time there, whether it was bankying, zooming, snuggling under there with Rue, or napping under there by himself. He absolutely loved it. And it was because of that we ended up getting our artificial olive tree to be in the place of the Christmas tree once we took it down, just so he could have some kind of tree in the corner there. That year when Rue and Linus were bonded and we took Christmas photos with them, they were just such a delight. Rue and Linus together taking photos was always surprisingly easy. They somehow just knew how to pose together. And we had a really cute photo of the two of them in front of our Christmas tree, where it looks like both of them are smiling big, giant smiles. Like, yay, it's Christmas time! It's one of our absolute favorites. We'll be sure to share that. That'll also, of course, be on our Little Loppy Roo account, probably closer to Christmas or on Christmas, that we will post it there too, because it's just too perfect not to. And we always get asked so many questions about how do we capture these shots? How do we get photos of our bunnies like that? And it really is that it just takes a ton of time and a ton of patience. So I would just sit in their space, holding our camera and waiting for the opportunity. Sometimes we would use veggies like cilantro or a piece of dill and feed it to them just to get them in the right spot. And then we just let the shutter go. I always set it to high-speed shutter and press the button so that it takes a million gajillion photos in a minute. And that's usually how we get a lot of our captures. I found that when just sitting in their space and letting them do their thing, they get comfortable. They're not afraid of the camera or the sounds that the camera makes, and they end up just giving the best poses for you. It's really such a great joy when I look through those thousands and thousands of photos and find that one that we caught and captured that's just phenomenal. Because this is part of the holiday season, I also wanted to share the story of Rue and her love for snow. We had no idea that she would be so obsessed with snow and have so much fun with it until one day we tried it out, where we had a beautiful snowfall overnight and everything was covered in about, I think, 4 or 5 inches of snow. And we have a little balcony where we live. And so we opened up our balcony door and kept it open just so that the bunnies could run in and out as they please. And we waited to see what would happen. So Rue, being brave, adventurous Rue, just went right out into the snow and hopped into it. And I would think, oh my goodness, it'll be cold for her paws. She'll probably run back in right away. But she loved it, and she started to explore out in the snow on our little balcony, hopping around, and she's literally sinking into this deep snow, but she doesn't mind at all. And she started to flop in it. We were blown away. We couldn't believe what we were seeing because I think we read and heard so many stories about how bunnies hate the snow, can't be in the snow, that kind of thing. And I understand bunnies should never be kept outside for long periods of time, especially in the cold. But for little periods of time, a minute or two, letting them play out there if they like it, I'm so glad we gave Rue that opportunity because now we know she's a snow bunny. She loves it. So every single time we get snowfall of any kind, we'll let her have a little bit of time to play outside. And Linus was the opposite of Rue. When we opened the balcony door and he saw Rue run out, Linus, of course, always loved to follow Rue and do whatever Rue was doing, even though he was not as brave as her. But actually, he was still pretty courageous because he was willing to brave whatever it was that Rue was doing just so that he could be with her. And so he was hesitant and he was slowly approaching the snow and he would step out into it, but then immediately he'd run back in. So we knew snow, probably not for Linus. But for Rue, yes, yes, yes. Of course, we have a video of Rue, actually a few videos of Rue, flopping around in the snow, loving it. And the cute thing is she'd flop, get back up, flop again, get back up, flop again. And sometimes she would just flop and lie there in the snow. She really liked it. I wonder if it's because it's soft and fluffy and it's so comfy, and maybe it's cooling on her because she's covered in so much fur. I don't know. Now for Timo, he never got to experience snow with us because his health was always super up and down, so we never ever felt comfortable with exposing him to the cold or the snow. So unfortunately, we don't know if Timo would love snow or not, but I'm sure now in bunny heaven, they're experiencing lots of snow that's safe for them. And I am 100% sure Linus and Timo are enjoying it together. The year of 2021, right before Christmas, was also the year that we launched our merch shop. That's when we had some artwork done of Rue and Linus and had them printed on sweaters and different merchandise that we sold. It was a very special project for us, and it was a huge, huge learning curve for us to have launched that shop. And we were very proud of it. We did eventually close that shop because we experienced working with the suppliers that we did work with and the companies that we did work with. And we kind of got a better idea of what we like and what we don't like and what we would want if we were to relaunch again. And it is in our plans eventually down the road to open up our merch shop again and have different products available. And we have very specific ideas of what we want and how we want to execute it. So it's going to be quite a bit of work to get there, but we are excited and we don't know dates. We haven't actually even done any serious planning for it yet, but we're hoping that down the line it'll come. And we hope you'll all love it. It'll be our merch shop with Rue, Linus, and Timo things. And of course, if we have another bunny friend for Rue at that time, they'll be included as well. Every morning, Rue actually waits for her advent calendar treat. She knows at this point, and it's always so cute and surprising for us how they catch on so quickly. Of course, this year's advent calendar was supposed to be for both Rue and Timo. And because Timo is in bunny heaven, all the treats are for Rue. And it's too many treats for Rue, so we're very careful with how much we give her. And even when we have, 2 treats available for her that day, we usually probably give her half of one of the treats, and we then save the rest for a day down the road, trying to spread it out as much as possible. The last few days, we secretly don't tell Rue, don't give her the treat for that day. Instead, we give her something else to trick her into thinking that that was what it was for the advent calendar day, but it wasn't, because we just want to limit her sugar intake and we don't want to give her too much of the sugar, the oats, and things like that. But again, don't tell Rue, it's a secret. She will not be happy if she knows. Now I just wanted to talk about what it's like for us having Rue as a solo bun. We already mentioned what we think it's been like for her being solo and how she grieves her friends and she misses her bestie and her second bestie, but overall she's doing great. For us, as we struggle with the grief, having Rue as the only bun is difficult sometimes. Only because we really struggle leaving her alone at home, even when it's for a short period of time. And it's really, a lot of it is in our heads, and it's something that we need to learn how to let loose a little bit on, because I think, especially me, bun mom, I'm very anxious about it. Even though I know Rue's okay, I still feel bad if she's home alone. Now, Rue is rarely ever home alone for too long, but there are certain days where we're meeting up with friends or family, and so it is an extended period of time that we may be away from her. And during those days, we always ensure to give her plenty of things to keep her busy. So I'll usually have a few small forage boxes or forage toys for her. So those are scattered around the house and she can search for them and then dig through them, and that usually keeps her busy for a while. We also have chew toys like apple sticks that she can chew on, and they're of varying sizes. So again, I scatter a few of them around for her. We also have palm plates that she gets to chew on, and we make sure that we always refresh her hay so she has fresh hay. Definitely keeps her busy. We find that if ever, even when we're home and she's feeling a little antsy and we see that she's kind of looking for things to do, when we refresh her hay, she really settles down. Oftentimes, I've also debated playing a video of us or a track of us in the background so that she can hear our voices even though we're away. I don't know if that helps. Does anyone know if this actually helps? If you have any experience, let us know. We also use our pet cam very often when we're gone to monitor her. And we have a really cool pet cam that was sent to us when we first got Rue, where it is controlled through our phone so we can actually drive it around our condo and move it. So that way, if she's in the bedroom, I can drive the little camera over to our bedroom to see where she is and what she's doing. If she's in the living room, I drive it there. And that has been so helpful. And this pet cam was actually designed originally for cats and to even enrich cats and keep them busy. So it was made for cats to be able to swat at and paw at and knock over, and it'll automatically fix itself upright again. And that's really helpful because sometimes I like to drive the camera a little too close to Rue, get all up in her personal space. She does not appreciate that, and she will just attack the camera. And it's really funny when I see through the lens her just going at it, pawing at the camera and knocking it out. And I just see the room whirling around and everything spinning as she's knocking the camera all about. But the camera will fix itself upright and then I can drive it again. So it is honestly the best pet cam ever. I don't know if they still make them. They were, I think, a startup for that camera. The brand is called EBO, EBO, if you wanted to search it up. If they still exist, highly recommend. We love it, especially if you have free roaming buns and they get to run all over the house. It's great for that because you can drive the camera around. Now, it doesn't go upstairs. So if you have stairs in your place and your bunnies can run up and down stairs, that's not really going to help. You might need to have an EBO cam on each floor in that case. But yes, using that pet cam to monitor her actually helps alleviate a lot of the worry and the stress that I get when we're out. Because oftentimes when I look into that cam, I see that she's happily foraging or digging through her toys. She's happily chewing or she's relaxing. And there are many times when I still thought, oh no, she must be so lonely. What if she's super unhappy because we're not home and she's missing us a lot? But we'll find evidence of her being totally okay being at home when we come back and we see that our carpets are out of place or folded. And that's an indication that she just did some hardcore zoomies and knocked those rugs and carpets out of place, which often happens. So when we see that, that definitely helps. But we still try our absolute best to not leave her alone for too long, especially if it's the evening hours. During the daytime, we know she's mostly sleeping and deep asleep. But in the evenings, when she's active and awake and running around, we try not to be gone for too long during those times. But again, life is life and we can't control everything. And there are still many times when we have to be out and can't be home for several hours. And we just have to deal with that for now until Rue has a friend and we feel much better about being gone for longer periods of time. Until then, I think I'm just gonna have to live with my worries and my concerns for her. But we are so proud of her and proud of how strong and resilient she is. And it's really grace and comfort for us because if she wasn't doing well, it would have been so much harder for us. So the fact that we have some time because Rue's doing so well is really a mercy on us, and we're grateful. So that's all for today. I really hope that you enjoyed our episode and our stories. And again, I wanted to thank all of you for tuning in, for listening in, for caring about our Bun family and checking in all the time. And even if you're not able to check in, thank you for thinking of us. Thank you for praying for us. We are always going to be so grateful, and I know we say this all the time, but we still feel we can't say it enough. Thank you all so much. We really hope you're having a wonderful holiday season and that you're spending lots of time with your loved ones and your buns, and that all of you are being spoiled with Christmas cheer. Wherever you are, whatever you're going through, you're not alone. You are loved and you are cherished. Thank you for being with us today, and we'll see you soon. Have a wonderful day or afternoon or evening wherever you are. We'll chat in 2 weeks. Our buns send you lots of boops. Bye.